The village of Nyos is found in Fungom subdivision of the Menchum division in the northwest region of Cameroon. Menchum division, with capital in Womb, is endowed with rich natural features, green land vegetation, beautiful rivers and streams. And one of the key attractions of Menchum is the Menchum Fall, which is believed can generate hydroelectric power to the whole of West and Central Africa. Once one thinks of Nyos, for those who know the area, one inevitably remembers the Lake Nyos disaster, which occurred in August of 1986. From Womb, the headquarters of Menchum Division, one needs to drive up the steep and hilly roads for about 35 kilometers, mostly using some of the best four-wheel drive vehicles. And it is even more interesting making a stopover at the village of Essay, some 5 kilometers away from Lake Nyos. A trip to Nyos is like a pilgrimage, moving along these abandoned old roads and footpaths. We made our own share of the pilgrimage, trekking for close to 5 kilometers on the winding mountains and on horseback from Essay village before finally reaching the Lake Nyos. It was here, on that fateful day of August 21st, 1986, that a poisonous gas explosion took away the lives of over 2,000 humans and animals alike. Everyone on this trip had a message to take back home. We were received at Bafmen, a village that harbors most of the survivors of Lake Nyos disaster, by a local dignitary, Pa Tembong Joseph. He recounts the ordeal.
That morning, when this incident happened at Nyos.
That morning, when the incident of the Lake Nyos disaster occurred, I immediately got information and took off to Hausa's quarters to confirm the information. There, I met a lot of other people, some crying and others very sad. I immediately thought it wise to inform the administration. So, I took off for Womb. There, I met Fayengo Francis, who was the divisional officer at that time. They too had already gotten information from the other side, and together we all took off for Nyos. When we got to Kunfudu and met other people, we stayed there for some time, unable to continue. Father Tenhorn, who was then the Reverend Father, left us there and continued to Nyos village. Others suggested that I should come back and go through Bafmeng. I took public transport to Bafmeng, and when I got here in Bafmeng, I and the mayor's father continued on foot to Essay village. Before we got to Essay village, we met with lots and lots of people, relatives of the infected people, wondering aloud. There was just no way for us to continue. The atmosphere was very tense. For safety reasons, and with the help of the Reverend Father of Bafmeng Mission, we managed to direct the population to the Catholic mission premises here in Bafmeng. That is how it was until that day passed. The following day, we took off for Nyos village with some relatives of the victims. We could hardly get closer to the lake with fears that the gas could still be infectious. Relatives of some victims started rushing for their lost ones, some mourning and others trying to arrange for burial of their lost ones. Thereafter, we came over to a safe village and stayed there for the whole day. Some affected families moved to Kambe. Others who had transport fare continued to Boom, and others went to Wom Central. But most affected victims settled here in Bafmeng. Every family home here in Bafmeng hosted at least a relative of the infected families of the Lake Nyos
No
disaster.
family, no house when they have men here, we not even get the victims where they don't come from there.
For most survivors of the Lake Nyos disaster, it is almost impossible to forget this tragic disaster.
So when the Lake Nyos thing be happen, baby were don't born for maternity.
When the Nyos incident occurred, I had just put to birth here at the Bafmen District Hospital. On that Saturday morning, I heard people exclaiming in the dialect saying, "There's nobody again in Nyos village." I left my mother and other relatives in the maternity and started rushing to Nyos. I was confused, asking myself that how can this happen when my entire family was there in Nyos. I arrived there late that evening only to discover that all my family had perished. Some were found fastened under the beds. Some of the children tried hiding themselves at the wall edges. There was just nobody to whom I could find out what had happened. Even then, before I got there, I bypassed dead birds and animals along the way. I kept on weeping and asking myself that if birds that have wings can die, what then of humans who can't fly? When I got home to find my whole family dead, I have never since then found any peace in my life because I am left alone. If I have anyone to look up to, it's just these twins children, which I later on delivered. The other child which I abandoned at the hospital to go to Nyos has since then been named Wobanyos, which means there's nobody in Nyos. She's now a grown-up. With the fear that now lingers in my mind, I do not want to set my eyes in Nyos village again because every time I think of Nyos, I just feel like crying.
I don't even want to see that place again right now. Because when I just hear the call Nyos Palava, so you just let someone start crying, I cry again.
How long you been start? Many population were there. So after nearly all of them have dead. So the survivor have on the way.
Before the disaster occurred, the Nyos village was very populated, and today all the inhabitants have perished. The survivors lived in camps, and up till date, we are still waiting on government's action. We learned that this incident happened during the night with gas being emitted from beneath the lake in the form of smoke, killing humans, animals and birds alike, with their bodies black as if they were roasted in fire.
All things there has been destroyed, like monkey during the war or ants, everything is down. So the water of the passing water getting to be dry come very, very impede during the time.
Scientists have today installed a degasification mechanism on the Lake Nyos. And this comprises of a radioactive signal that will emit some signal through an alarm should the gas threaten to come out again. This mechanism will, in 30 minutes before the emission, relay a heavy warning signal which is believed should provide ample time for those living around the lake area, notably farmers and military guards, to run for their dear lives.
We are no longer afraid because the government has sent whites to come and install this degasification mechanism, which will send out warning signals should the gas attempt to come out again.
The Lake Nyos is a natural lake with a surface area of about 2 kilometers. A massive black rock returning the waters of the lake can still be seen, and the holes that were burst from beneath by the gas can still be spotted. Somehow, the dam seems to be giving way, and who knows what is going to happen. At the edge of the dam is a drainage cliff over which the water overflows.
I don't think that the Nyos village is going to die. It's only that we have to organize people. As you know, there is an area surrounding the lake where people must not settle for the moment, because that area is a kind of security zone. And then, but as you have noticed, they can come to farm or to graze, but they must make sure that they don't settle here until administration gives them the authority to do it, the right to do it, because the situation has improved in terms of security.
The gradual return of the original settlers of these valleys could seem as an instinctive response, considering the fear that the Nyos village could simply die out and eventually become a faint recollection in the collective memory, even if the local administrators continue to sound reassuring.
Our council has about 26 villages, which 26 ethnic groups with different fondoms, and is the largest council in terms of land surface in the whole northwest province of Cameroon. And the thing is that the council area is so enclave with lack roads network. Now you find it is difficult for the administrators of Zua Council to be at the lakeside oftenly. This morning, we have left the divisional headquarters room. We've decided to pass through Bafmen, Isse, and park our vehicles all at Isse, and cover a 5-kilometer trekking to be here at the lakeside. This lake occurred some 20 years ago, and actually this municipality has benefited nothing from government assistance, despite the fact we lost about 2,000 souls. I can say I just benefit that it's a touristic site where people can visit and just know that Nyos is in the municipality. You could see that in the municipality we don't even have a road linking to the lake itself. Whereas other people leave my municipality and decide to pass through Bamenda, Banso, and Kambe to be at the lakeside, which from the subdivisional headquarters, it is just about 30 kilometers to be here at the lakeside. So it's actually a pity to my people.
Is it like an asset to you, or it's an advantage being here? Or is it a disadvantage being here?
Well, it is an advantage being here, because in the days ahead, we may profit.
Since I've been here in Nyos, I think here today I'm in Nyos, and the trip was very exciting, and I think that this is a very good place. We can improve this place for many development. As far as the lake is concerned, I think to secure this place, first of all, the government need to secure the place by demarcate the security area where the people can settle out, the security area out of that of which the people can settle. That will make the place secure, and then I think that after they can improve the lake for ecotourism.
In spite of the tragedy that befell the Nyos village, the area is still endowed with rich potentials that can easily blossom. And of course, more than was the case before the disaster of 1986.
We will know say this other lakes here was a good one. Then one here, it was very bad because
There are two lakes here. One was considered a bad lake because nobody liked going there. Every white man and visitor who came here only visited this one, which today has caused enormous damage to our people, and so we now consider it a bad lake.
now we don't say now we say take that one way with the call and say bad lake. You don't say being a good lake now.
The studies are still made with concerning the security aspect of it, with the direction of civil protection of the Ministry of Territorial Administration and Decentralization. And now that we are reaching the 20th anniversary of this catastrophe, we think that it would be good for something to be made in terms of building, marking clearly the security area, and then helping the population to settle all around, provide their security is safe. You can see when you look at the surroundings of the lake, you can understand that they want to come back not only because there is the natural feeling that somebody can have for his own land, but also because the place is very fertile. And they find that the places where they have been settled is not as fertile as this place. But it's our own responsibility for us authority to manage things so that their security won't be in danger.
But this lake, we call it an ecological fragile zone. So environmentally, it's very, very risky for people to settle around the lake since the findings have not yet been concluded. And you can see from the degasification that the gas is still on. And they have installed just one of the degasification pipes. It's supposed to be many more than this. So we still have the fear that the gas is still there. And again, we are, if you look at the place, this is a kind of area that we can find some chimpanzees, some rare species of animals, chimpanzees, buffaloes, and some gorillas. So environmentally, we are still considering if we can improve on the livelihood of the people around the place, and maybe conserve what we have, and improve the site for ecotourism. That is the way we are looking. We want to see how we can manage the rest of the place in those three headings.
Nyos has potentials for growth with its fertile soils and the green vegetation and pasture land. Agriculture in the area in the recent past has benefited from substantial financing made available by the Bavmen Cooperative Limited. Many of the 1,500 members, among them survivors of the Lake Nyos disaster, are people struggling to make a new life in Nyos, Kumbi, Boaboa, Sibum, Fomfuka, Bavmen, and trying to feel the nothingness created by the 1986 incident.
Credit Union is the only financial institution, microfinancial institution in the whole of Fingal. So we are the only people who give help to members. We give loans, we give school fees loans, we give agricultural loans, farming loans like agricultural loans, building loans, business loans. Our members use these loans to better their stay in the community. So far, the place is good. It has been growing. The fact that it's growing shows that it is doing all it can do to its people around. You see people, all these bench riders here, all these bench here around here, they've gotten loans from this place. All the beautiful houses you see around here, they're getting loans but from here. All the businesses you see, the big business people you see around here, they get their loans here, and they are doing a good turnover, and I'm sure they're happy.
Do you give any special advantages to the Nyos, like Nyos survivors?
Yes, we consider them. We know that they are underprivileged people. Some of them love their families, their property, so they want to start building a life, so we give them loans. The duration of their loans will usually make them to be longer, like 48 months.
Father died there since about that time. Two of us that left in my family.
After how many?
After 10 of us, we left only 2 because we were not in the village. We went out. So when we were here, we came back, see how people were suffering, brothers, sisters were suffering of that gas. So up to now, we are not feeling fine because we don't even have roads in the Nyos, hospitals, nothing, schools, nothing. So we are just trying to see if the government can provide us.
Really, for us, we are hoping much on the government. First, it was declared, mostly the area which was affected was declared a disaster area, and only government can tell us the place is free for life, and so, in fact, we will be very happy. We have been waiting for long, and 20 years have come by. I think it's long enough. That's why we turn always to ask if government is not really hastening up our return to Nyos.
One thing is quite certain. This recollection from the over 20 years back seemingly only casts a shadow of gloom in every mind.